Every day we wake up and dive into our routines, scrolling, replying, multitasking, staying productive. We tell ourselves it's normal, that everyone lives like this. But what if I told you that some of your most ordinary habits are slowly damaging your brain? Not metaphorically, but literally reshaping the neural patterns that define who you are. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman once said, "Nothing in life is as important as you think it is while you are thinking about it." Yet our minds spend all day chasing meaningless thoughts, dopamine hits, and digital noise. And in that chaos, we lose the ability to think clearly, or even feel deeply. So let's talk about the habits that quietly destroy your brain, and how to take it back. You've probably heard that multitasking is a myth, but neuroscientist Earl Miller from MIT found something more alarming. When you multitask, your brain doesn't actually do two things at once. It rapidly switches between tasks, draining energy and focus every time it shifts. Each switch releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, this constant gear shifting leads to mental fatigue, anxiety, and even memory issues. In one Stanford study, heavy multitaskers performed worse on attention and memory tests than people who focused on a single task. And yet, we glorify it. We wear busy like a badge of honor. But productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters without tearing your brain apart in the process. Imagine this. Every flick of your thumb on a screen gives your brain a tiny hit of dopamine, a feel-good chemical meant to reward meaningful progress. But as Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford notes, we've created an ecosystem of compulsive overconsumption that rewards instant gratification. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, they hijack your reward system, training your brain to crave novelty over depth. Over time, you lose patience for slow, meaningful work, reading, learning, thinking. You become addicted not to content, but to the act of scrolling itself. And that's how the modern brain is quietly rewired for distraction. You tell yourself, "I'll sleep when I'm done," but neuroscience says, you're never really done, and your brain is dying for rest. Dr. Matthew Walker, sleep scientist and author of Why We Sleep, found that even one night of sleep loss reduces learning capacity by up to 40%. When you skip sleep, your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming memories, literally shuts down. Chronically, it's linked to anxiety, depression, Alzheimer's, and even reduced empathy. Sleep isn't laziness. It's your brain's nightly repair cycle, the time it cleans out toxins, consolidates memories, and restores your ability to think clearly. Every hour you gain by staying awake, you lose twice as much clarity tomorrow. We often forget that the brain is a physical organ. Feed it garbage and it performs like garbage. High-sugar diets, processed fats, and nutrient deficiencies don't just affect your waistline. They alter your brain chemistry. A study in Nature Neuroscience found that excess sugar reduces neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to adapt and learn. Meanwhile, omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants from foods like fish, nuts, and berries help neurons communicate more efficiently. You don't need a perfect diet. You just need to remember, every bite is a vote for the brain you want to build. You can have thousands of followers and still feel completely alone. Psychologist Juliane Holt-Lundstad discovered that chronic loneliness increases your risk of early death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's not just emotional, it's neurological. When you feel socially isolated, your brain enters survival mode. It becomes hypervigilant, scanning for threats. Over time, this rewiring reduces trust, increases anxiety, and worsens sleep and immunity. Humans evolved to connect. As Dr. Matthew Huberman puts it, our brains are wired to connect. Social pain is as real as physical pain. Connection isn't optional, it's medicine. The average adult sits for 9 to 10 hours a day. We move less, stare more, and wonder why we feel drained. But your brain loves movement. Exercise increases blood flow, releases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that literally grows new neurons and boosts mood through endorphins. Dr. John Ratey, author of Spark, calls exercise miracle grow for the brain. You don't have to run marathons. Just walk, stretch, or dance. Every movement sends oxygen and energy to the mind that drives you. You lie in bed scrolling through memories, regrets, and what-ifs. Your body is tired, but your brain refuses to shut up. This is rumination, the loop that traps your mind in unproductive thought. According to psychologist Susan Nolan Hoxema, chronic rumination increases the risk of depression and anxiety by feeding the illusion of control, as if replaying pain could somehow fix it. The solution? Externalize the noise. Write it down, talk to someone, meditate. Your thoughts are meant to pass through you, not imprison you. Screens are tools, but when the tool starts shaping the hand that holds it, something's wrong. Blue light exposure at night disrupts melatonin and sleep cycles. Constant notifications fragment your attention, and the infinite feed creates a distorted reality where you're never enough. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman says, "Your visual environment controls your internal state. So design it wisely. Limit digital clutter, use focus modes, and touch grass, literally. Your brain evolved under sunlight, not pixels. You delay the small things. Replying to a message, organizing your desk, paying that bill. Seems harmless, but each delay adds a mental open tab." Psychologist Bluma Zygarnik discovered that unfinished tasks create cognitive tension, a low-level stress that lingers until closure. The more you delay, the heavier it gets. The fix: start tiny. Action reduces anxiety faster than thinking about action. The modern brain is bored but busy. We consume so much information that we feel productive. Yet we rarely challenge ourselves to think deeply. Neuroplasticity thrives on difficulty. Learning new skills, languages, instruments, or even complex ideas. Carol Dweck, psychologist at Stanford, calls this the growth mindset. Becoming is better than being. When you stop learning, your brain begins to decay. Not metaphorically, but biologically. So read something hard, fail at something new. That's how the mind stays alive. A sensitive but crucial topic. Chronic exposure to pornography can desensitize the brain's reward system, just like drugs. Neuroscientist Valerie Voon found that habitual porn users show similar neural patterns to addicts. Less activation in the prefrontal cortex, self-control, and more craving pathways in the limbic system. It's not about morality, it's about rewiring. When the brain gets endless stimulation without real intimacy, it confuses fantasy for connection, leading to anxiety, guilt, and relational disconnection. Recovery doesn't mean abstinence. It means rediscovering real pleasure through presence. Each of these habits alone might seem small, harmless even. But together they form a silent architecture of decay. Your brain, this 3-pound universe inside your skull, adapts to whatever life you feed it. Feed it chaos and it becomes chaotic. Feed it focus, rest, connection, and challenge, and it becomes powerful, creative, alive. The good news: neuroplasticity works both ways. You can rewire your mind at any age. Maybe your brain isn't broken. Maybe it's just tired of surviving in a world that never stops screaming. So today, do one thing, just one, that makes your brain feel alive again. Sleep, move, think deeply, speak honestly. Because the most powerful act of rebellion in this world is to take your mind back. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Buddha.